Hey everyone, welcome back to Brown Coat Nerd. Today we're going to be looking at a law enforcement trade-in from AIM Surplus, the Remington 870 Express. Specifically, we're looking at one that is in 12 gauge with the 28-inch vented barrel, and I have no clue how I'm going to shoot this thing. Obviously, I cannot get it all into frame. This is going to be a mess of a video. But real quick, as we can see, we are unloaded. We'll go ahead and close that up. So real quick, I ordered this back in about mid-October of 2023. Like I said, from AIM Surplus. They advertised it as a law enforcement trade-in, more specifically the North Carolina Department of Corrections. So right away, one of the things I thought was kind of unusual is the fact that they would have such a long freaking barrel on a prison guard shotgun. So I don't know if this was like out when they were cleaning the sides of the road or what was the deal, but there we go. That's what AIM says. This was running $350. I just checked today, which is November 2nd, November 3rd. And the 2 3/4 inch versions are still available. They did also have some 3-inch Magnum versions. They were still the Express model of the 870. But they did have those, and those were going for $370. If I didn't mention it already, this one here was $350. Now I've been kind of eyeballing these for the last month or so. Years ago, I had a little single shot shotgun. I didn't much care for it much back then. I wasn't really big into shooting. It was the New England Partner or whatever. Got rid of that, and then I ended up getting a Savage Stevens. Is it the 720? They're Chinese pump action shotgun. I do have a video on that. Those were very cheap shotguns. At the same time, I never really had any issues with mine, but you could also just feel in handling it that it was not top-notch quality, kind of the high point of shotguns, if you will. It worked, but it felt cheap when you're handling it. I ended up selling that one off to a buddy, and then I got my AK Lynx 12 shotgun semi-auto. I still have that. I've got reviews on that. But ever since getting rid of that Savage Stevens, I still wanted another pump action in the collection. This time I wanted to get something a little bit better, even if it was nicely used like this. So like I said, I've been eyeballing these shotguns on AIM Surplus website for a while. I did notice that they sold out of the 3-inch Magnum versions, and so then I was like, you know what? It's close to my birthday. Screw it. I'll just, go ahead, pull the trigger, and get one. Now, the image on the website does show these with a wood stock on it. AIM does point out in the description that you do have a chance of getting the synthetic stock. So while I did want the wood stock, I knew I had a chance of getting the synthetic stock, and well, as you can see, that is indeed what I ended up with. It did come with a sling, which it did not mention. It is this nice sweat-stained nylon sling here. Then, of course, obviously we've got some sling attachments. Trying to do this without hitting stuff, and it is difficult. And they're getting kind of a little corrody and rusted in this sling here. I have no clue exactly what sling it is. We got some brass bits, and then we got some plastic bits on there too. I have a feeling it's probably a pretty decent quality one, at least when they first threw it on here. Me personally, it's coming off as soon as I'm done filming this video. I'm going to pull it off. The sling attachments, too, are also a little bit beat up. So I don't know if I'm going to end up putting a sling on here or not. What I plan on doing with it, I don't know if that's what's going to end up happening, but I'm going to find some used wood furniture to throw on here. Thinking about chopping the barrel down around 20 inches. I really like the look of the vented rib up here. Just kind of having a fun little range toy, not something specifically for hunting or home defense. Just something to have some poops and giggles with. So that's kind of my plan. We'll see what happens. Now, this particular one, Going off of the stamps on the side of the barrel, real quick too, if you're coming to this looking for like getting all kinds of insider scoop info on the 870, this is not your video. I am still learning myself. This is primarily just looking at what AIM is offering. So, I don't know if you can see that, but we have a D, J, and then an M. I am not sure what the M stands for. I can't remember if I've come across that or not. I don't think I have. But the DJ, the first letter is going to be your month of production. The second letter will be your year of production. Now, this is where it gets kind of weird with these, because when I first pulled it up online, I'm like, oh, cool, there is a list. This should be easy. And then I looked at it, and I was like, what the F is going on here? So, first of all, for the month, it spells out black powder for each month. Obviously, we're missing a letter, so December is X. So this is D, so it's September. And then J for this particular one is going to be 1989. I'm pretty sure. So the years that they have, Remington would repeat it, the same year code. So you basically have to take your year code, look at what year options you have, and then based off of the features that are on your 870, you got to try to figure out what year from those options that it is. Now, I think I came across somewhere saying that the Express models, which is what this is their kind of entry level, cut the corners just a little bit, make it a little bit cheaper model. I do believe these first came out in 1981. I am not positive on that, so there's a very good chance I am dead ass wrong, but I feel like I came across somewhere saying that. Therefore, I'm assuming mine is for the 1989 production year. I forget the other year options that this one could have been. This one also does have the metal trigger guard. A lot of the newer ones have the polymer, which a lot of people fuss about. To me, it's really not that big of an issue. Well, I guess for the most part. With this just being kind of a poops and giggles gun, I would have preferred getting a metal trigger guard over the polymer, just for the look that I'm going to try to get with it. If I was getting one of these to actually go hunting with, I honestly would actually prefer the polymer trigger guard, because it's going to be a lot more comfortable resting your finger on a cold piece of plastic than resting your finger on a cold piece of metal. And from my understanding, they really have had zero issues with the polymer trigger guards. So it's just kind of the people, being bitchy, I guess. But I get it for some aspects. You do want a metal one. Like I said, for myself, for this particular build, the direction I'm planning on going, I did want a metal trigger guard in there. So basically, I believe this is an 89 because it's an Express, I think, if that's correct. Obviously, I got the polymer furniture on here, so you'd be like, well, it's not any older than that. Possibly. I don't know how long the North Carolina Department of Corrections had this gun. So I guess theoretically there would be a possibility that this originally came with a wood stock. Over the years it got beat up. And so then they replaced it like in the 70s or 80s or whatever with a synthetic stock. But once again, I think going back to it being an Express, I don't think I have any other options of it being any older than that. Another thing is, if you look to get a barrel extension, you will see a lot of people bring up. A lot of these will have dimples in the mag tubes, and you either got to kind of hammer those out or drill them out. They do make a tool that you hammer in there. Some people will just use a socket. I was planning on doing that. However, this one, it turns out, does not have those dimples. Once again, with me trying to age this, that really threw me off. A lot of people online were telling me in order to get one without the dimples, it's got to be like from the 50s or 60s, because they started doing the dimples sometime in the 70s or 80s. And this one doesn't have dimples, and it's most likely an 89, so maybe that wasn't done until the tail end of 89. So yeah, does your 870 have dimples? What year of production is it? I'm very curious about that. And obviously, since it does not have the dimples, this does have that metal retainer in there, not just that little plastic one. So like I said, this is the Express, so it does not have the world's greatest finish. People will praise the 870 And I've never seen a soul praise the finish. I've never seen even the most hardcore 870 fan bring up how crappy the finish is. It is a well-known issue on these. That being said, for as old as this is, I am cool with it. Whenever I hit this with like those Birchwood barricade wipes, this almost comes out like as a purple. It's got a really nice patina on it. The polymer furniture, you know, it's got some wear and tear on it. Nothing horrible. I will say it is horribly grimy. I have tried to clean this off a few times with some hot water and dish soap. And it's gotten a lot better, but it's still very gross feeling. At the same time, I'm not too terribly concerned about cleaning it up that much. Because like I said, I plan on changing out this polymer furniture for some wood furniture. All of the vents look good and straight. Sometimes you'll see these where they're like bent down. This one does not appear to have that issue. The front bead is a little bit shaved off on the front, but when you're aiming, the profile is still there. Now, did I lose Mike? Stand by. We've got technical difficulties. I didn't think the mic would work with this unplugged. And now everything is unplugged. Good Lord. Hang on, folks. We didn't pay the bill at the studio today. Alright. Let there be light. Whew, that worked, thank God. Okay, plug back in our power here. Okay, so picking up right where I left off, which I have no clue. Oh yeah, the furniture. Not investing too much in that. Plan on changing that out. The ribs are all good. As you can see, I'm about to knock that off again. As you can see, we do have quite a bit of wear and patina on the entire gun, which honestly, I love. Plop this guy back down here. So I took the trigger pack out, inspected that. I was expecting it to be really, really grimy. It actually wasn't that dirty at all. There's like a lot of like grime kind of packed into the corners here. I think it's just prison sweat. But the insides were pretty clean. I did have like the shell of a beetle. It actually looked like a giant bed bug. It was pretty gross. Fall out of the receiver. But other than that, the inside wasn't too bad. I can tell the gun had been shot. I wiped my finger in there. There's a little bit of like gunpowder residue. I grabbed a rag, started wiping in there, and like my finger had wiped off the majority of it. It is pretty much cleaned up. Most part of what I was wiping down in the receiver was just brown gunk. I think that was just dust collecting on the oil that was in there. Took the barrel off. A ton of dust bunnies in that barrel, but once I cleaned it up, it was extremely pristine. And there is a choke in there. I have no clue which choke is in there. Once again, if I stick with my plan, I'm going to be chopping it, so I'm not too terribly concerned with that. I did have a small, wasn't there, little ding on the magazine tube. I don't know if you can see that. It's real minor. Once again, with that tool that I thought I was going to need to get rid of the dimples for the mag extensions. That would have fixed that, but then I realized I didn't need it. And I have loaded this. By the way, this is 4 plus 1, so we got 4 12 gauge 2 3/4 shells, plus 1 in the chamber. But they all load up perfectly fine. There is no slight hesitation. There's no extra feeling of friction in that area. It's not catching at all. So we're fine there because these tubes are attached to the gun. You can't just, easily change them out. But with minor bends, like I said, they do make tools that actually get those dents and stuff kind of stamped out of there. So the barrel was in great shape. The inside of this gun really was in great shape. It's just really gross and dirty on the outside. So I cannot complain at all. I am very happy. I am a little bummed I did not get the wood furniture, but like I said, AIM did make that clear on their website, so I definitely knew that was something I was going to be getting into. Another thing Like I said, I've been kind of eyeballing these for around a month. I didn't really get too serious. I didn't do any research. I was just kind of like, oh, that might be neat. And then, like I said, it was late one night. I just happened to get on the website, saw the Magnums had just sold out because I was planning on getting one. They're only like $20 more. And so then I kind of was like, I panicked. I was like, oh, let me just get one. So I ordered it. Then I did my research, which typically I'll do at least a little bit of research before I get the gun. But this one, I did what you should never ever do, and I just went out and bought it without looking into it at all. So then I started looking into it, and then that gave me a whole other panic. Because I was seeing lots of different places online where people were talking about how they had picked one up brand new for like $350 at Walmart. And I'm like, I paid $350 for a used one. What the hell did I just do? So I think a lot of what that is, first of all, you got to look at when the date that the post was made, how far back. But Remington, wow. One more time. Remington kind of has been going through a lot of growing pains the last several years. From my understanding, they were bought out by a group called Freedom Group, and that's kind of when their quality control really started to take a dive. I think they were just kind of cutting corners, trying to increase the profit that they were getting off the guns. So that's when Remington really started to get a bad rap. And then, of course, shortly thereafter, they just went out of business. But recently they have come back. A company called Rim Arms is kind of taking over. And they are bringing the 870 back out. I don't think they have the Express model, and I could be wrong on this. I think they're offering, basically it's still the Express model, but I think they're offering it under the Police name. But I do believe they're still offering like the Wingmaster, and they have all the other variants in there. I didn't mention this already, but for the most part, your two options on 870s, what you're going to come across, are typically going to be the Express and the Wingmaster. Obviously, there are a ton of different variants in there, but those are your two big versions you're going to run across. So I was kind of like, okay, did I just completely overpay? I've had a really good experience with AIM, so I kind of jumped into it blindly. But I think a lot of what that is when the Freedom Group was putting out the shotguns, they got a really bad rep, and places like Walmart were putting them on sale for a very reduced price. Now, once again, with them coming back out, I think you can get them for not as cheap as before, but still relatively cheaper. I think they're just kind of still trying to reestablish their name. From what I've seen, the new Rim Arm 870s are actually pretty good. It sounds like they've taken a step forward. And then I will still see a lot of people defend the Freedom Group generation of Remington 870s. A lot of people say, I've never had any issues, it's just a bad rap. And then other people swear up and down, they won't touch them, or they'll just flat out recommend stay away from 870s altogether. But then as I looked into it, I did notice the older ones, like from the early 90s. I believe Freedom Group took over in the mid or late 90s. Don't quote me on that. But basically, the ones from before, they kind of maintain a higher resale value than the newer ones. Which brings me to another point. If you are wanting one of these, definitely check out your local pawn shops. These 870s are super freaking popular. And if the guy at the pawn shop doesn't really know what he's doing, and he's looking up the value of an 870 he just got in on trade, he's going off of the value of a current modern one. But maybe it's an old Wingmaster from like the 60s or 70s or something. So I think there is a very good potential to get these older ones at a very discounted prices. At very discounted prices if you look around at your local pawn shop or gun stores. So do definitely keep that in mind. But even then, it's still going to be kind of hit or miss. So long story short, am I happy with my purchase? Absolutely. Am I a little bit bummed out that it's not wood? Yeah, but I knew that was going to be, a good chance. I don't know. I did check their website. They're currently still in stock for the 2 3/4 versions. I don't know if they simply sold all the wood ones first and then are going through the polymer furniture, or if they're just kind of going through them, all these ones are better regardless of their furniture, or maybe they're just completely grabbing them at random. I have no clue. So do keep that in mind if you want to buy one of these from AIM. The image does show nice wood stock, but keep in mind there's a good chance you're going to get this Palmer stock. And once again, these are so popular and there are so many made. Finding a used wood set online should not be difficult. I just haven't done it yet. I have not shot this gun yet. I know I hate doing reviews when I haven't shot a gun, but I wanted to get this video out there to show you guys while they're still available. That's something I kind of drag my feet on. So they're still available. Want to get this video out there to show you guys. I am very happy. I'm also very excited that I'm not going to be keeping this stock. I'm going to kind of quote-unquote Bubba it some. So I'm very excited to see what route I go down. Also, after getting this, handling it, watching lots of reviews on this 870, I would be very surprised if I don't get another 870 down the road. I haven't even shot this thing yet, and already I'm like, okay, yeah, now I want to get one of the, what do they call them, the TAC 4s, TAC Cs, whatever, the really short one, which before I thought were stupid, and now for some reason I want one, to carry next to me on my stagecoach that I never ride. Yeehaw. So yeah, that's it. Just wanted to show you guys what you might be able to expect if you get one of these from AIM Surplus. I'm pretty happy with it. Keep in mind you are going to get one that shows lots of wear, like you can see here, but for me, that is what I want. So just keep that in mind. You are not going to be getting any save queens by any means. But there was no real surface rust I had to clean off this, just that patina. I didn't really clean the outside of this too hard. I went over it with the Birchwood barricade wipes, which aren't even the most aggressive, gun cleaning wipes. And I went over it like maybe 3 or 4 times with those, and yeah, that was it. So not a whole lot of cleaning to do. Alright guys, if you liked this video, please consider liking and subscribing. And of course, I always forget to mention it at the beginning of the video, so I'll mention it now. Don't forget to follow me over on Rumble. It's kind of a mirror image of what I got going on here, but all my videos where I did show mechanical changes, even though I'm not modifying the gun, I'm just restoring things back to how they originally were. I've had to move to Rumble because YouTube don't like that. So definitely give me a follow over there. It's kind of a backup to my YouTube as well. Also, I now have an Instagram page. Some of my pictures are pretty. So if you like guns and pictures of guns, give me a follow on Instagram. Alright guys, that is it for now. And of course, as always, stay safe, stay shiny. Can you tell I'm filming this really late at night and I'm really tired? Alright guys, have a good one.